The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Josh Ellsworth with Stahl's CAD Cut Direct, presenting a great garment graphics webinar, Dynamite Sales Strategies, Art of the Upsell. Appreciate everybody taking the time to come on this afternoon or this morning, depending on where in the world you are. And this should be an interesting series for us. Right now, this webinar is the first in a series where we're going to continue every month or every other month where we give you practical advice on how to grow profit in your business and how to sell more customized apparel. So we give a lot of demonstrations centered around our heat printing technology that we sell you every day for you to decorate garments with. But now we'd like to share with you some ideas on how to sell that customized product. So we'll be real interested after this webinar to hear your feedback on the survey that pops up when the webinar closes. Also be real interested to see what types of questions come in during the presentation. So as always with the presentations we give online, there's a little question box. If you haven't been here before, you can type in a question throughout the presentation. Those come right in front of me here on my desktop, and I'll gladly take those throughout the presentation as we have time. Be sure to check out Great Garment Graphics for upcoming presentations in this series. The next one will be in November, the beginning of November, so you can look forward to that. So to get started, we have 3 poll questions today, and if you've ever attended one of my webinars, I usually like to rapid fire those in the beginning, get them out of the way, and to get information on the audience we have in front of us today. And so we'll go ahead and do that. And all of these are related to the business that you do, the amount of business, your sales, those sorts of things. So if you can answer this first question, what is your annual revenue? So we know what size businesses we have online today. I imagine most will fall under the 100,000 mark, because we do cater to a lot of smaller shops, but I'm just interested to see if that is the majority of our audience. Okay, 71% of you have voted. Give it a couple more seconds. And I'm going to close that and share the results, which are no surprise. So 89% are less than 100,000 per year, and 11% have crossed the $100,000 threshold and fall into that second category. Now, the next question I'd like to ask is, how many people comprise your sales team? Now, when answering this question, obviously there's not a 0 as an option, because if you're the business owner and you do the selling and you're the only one that does the selling, then it would be a 1. This isn't necessarily dedicated salespeople, but how many people are selling for your company that write orders from customers? %70 have voted. Give you about 10 more seconds here. And most have voted, so I'm going to close that and go ahead and share the results. Looks like 41% of the audience has 1 person selling. 55% has 2 to 3 people. And 5% has 4 to 9 folks selling for their business. Great. And then the last poll question here that I'm going to launch before we get into our presentation is, do you have an upsell strategy for your business? Simple yes or no. Do you have an upsell strategy for your business? Because that's what we'll be covering today. Everybody's voting on this one. Thank you. Got 80% that have voted. Give you 5 more seconds. And we'll close it off. 87% participated in that vote, and 88% of the audience do not, and 12% say yes, they do have an upsell strategy. Good. So let me close out this little section of my display, and let's get going here. So today, it's all about the art of the upsell. And really, what I'd like to propose to you is to take some time, examine the current strategy that you have for the 12% that do have an upsell strategy. Consider this strategy that I'm about to present. For those of you that don't have an upsell strategy, I think you'll leave this webinar with a full understanding of how having a plan and a strategy can really impact your bottom line significantly. So those of us that are doing, not an astronomical amount of business, you can take every sale that comes into your shop and you can make the most of that customer. And that's really what upselling is. It's making the most of every single sale and generating maximum profit. So sales strategy is basically defined as a plan that positions a company's brand or product to gain a competitive edge. So successful strategies help your sales team focus on a target market, or in some cases a target product. And any good strategy should focus on delivering the best solution to the customer, but also delivering the best amount of profit to your business, and that's what we'll talk about. Here we see the picture of the McDonald's fries, and that's probably the most classic and well-known example of upselling. It's, would you like to supersize that order or that value meal? And this is something that McDonald's instituted a long time ago, and it's basically taking every single sale that they make, that they take for a value meal, and trying to upgrade or upsell that customer into a more expensive order, which they probably make substantially more profit on than their basic meal. And so how do we take that philosophy of upselling and apply it down to our business? And for apparel decorators, and you look at the items that we decorate, mainly T-shirts, athletic jerseys, jackets, bags, you name it, regardless of the decorating discipline, whether it's heat printing or screen printing or embroidery, we have the ability to upsell every single garment that we produce for a customer. And that has to happen at the point of sale with who's talking to the customer. So for apparel decorators, as you see in the bottom right of the screen there, it can be another placement on the same garment. It can help you generate more profit and upsell that order. It could be an upgraded blank. So that means rather than a T-shirt, we can upsell the customer into a performance fabric shirt. Or instead of a basic T-shirt, maybe we can sell them into a burnout T-shirt or something a little more trendy and fashionable that ultimately delivers them, gives them something that they value more or that they like better, and it delivers more profit and more sales to you. And the last one, and really what we'll focus on today, is the upselling and upgrading the graphic that's actually on the shirt. And I happen to think that this is one of the easiest upsells to make, especially if you organize your salespeople with the right tools to generate an upsell, because a customer typically comes in knowing exactly what design they want on their shirt, or having a concept at least. Usually they know whether they want a T-shirt, a hoodie, or what type of garment they want. But I still think there's potential to take that graphic when they bring it to you and take their vision and kind of elevate it. And that's what we'll talk about. So creating a plan. As we go through today, this requires a commitment. So evaluate this and see if it's a commitment you want to make. But throughout this, I'm going to ask you if you want to commit to this upsell strategy, you're going to have to create a plan, and that's going to involve samples. That's going to involve training of your sales team, if you or your staff, if you have multiple people selling, or in a lot of cases, training yourself with all the options that are available to you to upgrade graphics. And also, it's going to require practice. So it's something that you're probably not going to win on the first 5 times you try to present this to a customer. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll run out of the gate doing very well. But it's going to require practice and really committing to this strategy. Something that you can't do really is shortcut sales growth and profit growth. So it's a plan, and no execution of the plan means upselling won't work. So the first thing you need to know is the options available to upsell. Now, a lot of the familiar faces, familiar names that are at all these webinars, I think you've made a commitment to education in your business. You've committed to understanding the full range of heat printing products that Stahls has to offer. If I put it in perspective of a heat applied film and look at our website for a moment, if you visit CADcutdirect.com, you can see there are all these different finishes of materials that you can put onto a garment. My last webinar had to deal with a heat transfer film tour, and it's still archived on greatgarmentgraphics.com, but we stepped through each of these decoration options and how it may benefit your business. As a result, you probably have, if you have a vinyl cutter, you probably have glitter materials on the shelf, or you have electric materials on the shelf. People aren't always just going to walk in and ask for those, so it's putting a strategy behind all of this knowledge and all of these products and special effects that you know about. That's what this is all about today. So what I'm going to recommend is you set up a tiered pricing system. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3, or if you just want to do basic and a 1 and a 2, you can do that. But basic is your basic design. It's your standard white heat transfer film or your white screen printed design. It can be a 2 or 3 color design, but the point is it's as basic as you get for a graphic. It's what you think when you see a standard garment with a basic design on it. It's probably what you sell the most of unless you have a special niche. Upgrade basically groups designs that have a similar cost as basic but have a higher perceived value. So the strategy here is customer comes in, they want a basic design. You're going to try to get them to go from a basic design and show them how an upgraded design looks on a garment and how it could benefit them. That's the basic gist of this. And so you'll want to create tiers. So you have 1, which is all your basic looks, and then you'll have tier 2, which can be upgraded looks. And this is where you're going to group designs that have a similar cost as basic but have the higher perceived value. So if I looked at our heat transfer film lineup, we'd see products that are similar cost per yard to a basic film in some special effects like metallics and things like this. But then you have the whole next level, which is tier 3 or an ultimate upgrade. And that's where we're going to group more expensive materials. So if I just glance through the cost per yard on our heat transfer films, there are certainly some that are 2 and 3 times as much as a basic film. And these need to be in a separate price bracket so you can ensure you're making adequate profit when you're upselling folks to ultimate designs. So let's look at some basic stuff. So here's your basic design that we talked about. This particular shirt was created with CAD Cut Premium Plus. It could just as easily be a basic screen print onto a t-shirt in whatever basic color your customer wants. Now if I take that same design and I want to present it to the customer that came in to order 12 shirts in that design, if I want them to upgrade their graphic, then I need to figure out what I'm going to show them that's already on my shelf in stock, whether it's the ink or the heat transfer film, but what can I show them that's going to get them to take that garment to the next level? And here I'm going to group those designs, and in this case I'm going to show you our CAD Cut glitter material. So once again I'm showing it in the same pink material just with a glitter effect. So obviously glitter is going to be one of those products that appeal primarily to a female demographic. So you'll want to be sure you know your client. If it's a guy's track team or if it's a co-ed track team, you may not want to show glitter. You may pick a different product that would appeal to both audiences. But here you can see, a close-up of that glitter effect. This is a product, we'll look at the cost structure here momentarily, but this is a product that's every bit as easy to cut and weed and produce as a standard color film. It just costs slightly more, but it's in the same basic price bracket when we break it down on what it costs to put this design on a shirt. If it's a men's team or a men's group that comes in, or boys, here's an electric material. This is a CAD Cut Fashion Film Electric. So I'm not sure if you can tell really from the picture, but it gives a really nice foil metallic sheen to it. So this may be a product I go to if I have a group coming in that walks in and wants a basic design and I want to take them to an upgrade, show them 2 different looks. Now, ultimate, this is where we said we'll group the top tier, the most expensive designs. They don't necessarily have to be the most expensive on cost, but something you group into the highest perceived value. And for this, the highly sought-after glitter flake is what we're going to place into this category. So you can see we've taken this design, and rather than just the smooth surface glitter from the CAD Cut glitter, we're incorporating the glitter flake, which is a really high-density density glitter that has a rough textured feel to it, and it stands out. It's almost, as vibrant as a rhinestone, and that's how popular this material is. Also within that ultimate category, I don't just have to have the glitter material. Once again, it probably wouldn't appeal to men as much as it does women, so maybe I'll pick a product like glow in the dark that I can put into this ultimate price. So the key is basically break down the choices that you have from your supplier, get a full understanding of how the cost fits into each tier, and also the perceived value of your customer base in your area, and group these all together. Now you may say, Josh, I can't make a shirt for every single customer that walks in the door and show them all these different looks. And you don't have to. You can use photos, but I think a physical sample is the absolute best thing to show to a customer when they walk in. So you can walk them around the store, or you can pull out your sales portfolio and show small applied samples of each effect. Or one of the most effective samples at a trade show when you walk by as a customer is putting all of the products on one shirt so you can see them all at first glance. So here's an example of what you may equip each salesperson with in your company. Or if it's an in-store thing, you may have a mannequin that shows styles for men, styles for women, but you'll figure out how to group them. But here's a concept. This compelling visual basically shows hot trends, cool effects. And we group very easy. We have a section that says upgrade, and we have a section that says ultimate upgrade. Now you can see the upgraded prints choices there. I've incorporated the fashion film electric colors that I had on hand here whenever I created the samples. So in your store, you'll want to make a commitment and say, all right, I'm going to stock silver, gold, and red. And then you take the color swatch book that we provide you for free, and you just peel the swatch off, and you press it down to the garment and cut out a simple, upgrade section and heat apply it there as a choice. That way a customer can look at it, and they can also see how it feels on their garment or on a basic t-shirt for reference. Likewise, we created the ultimate upgrade section, which is where we want people to go. We want them to buy the most expensive look, so we make the most profit. And you can see, in this case, we chose to put a lot more choices in that category. So we have 6 colors of glitter flake, and let me show you a close-up of this. We have the top 6 colors of glitter flakes. We have the blue that we stock, the silver, the gold, the pink, the green, the red. And beneath that, we have the hologram. Now, the holograms are rather inexpensive material, but a customer would probably perceive that as being high-end. So that's why we placed it. Even though the cost is even lower than the electric, which is in the upgrade section, we placed it in the ultimate upgrade. The key is that the thing you don't want to do is take a material like glow in the dark and basically put it into the upgrade section and shortchange yourself on a job with what you upcharge, and take it from let's say a $30 profit order down to a $25 profit order. Sure, the customer may be happy with the effect on the shirt a little more, but you want to make sure you're happy with the profit margin you're achieving on it as well. Once again, guys, feel free to ask questions as they come up here. So those are some of the different looks we have. The next thing I want to step through is the cost picture, what you can expect in profit by implementing something like this. And for that, I'm going to step through some numbers here, and let me get out my little writing tool here so I can highlight what I'm talking about. All right, so basic pricing. The design you saw, the Run This Town design, is 10 by 14 inches. We're doing a hypothetical situation here, so I can just give you an example. If that's for a 12-shirt order, based on the material width, I'm going to consume 4 yards of material. You can do that simply by laying this out in your vector art program, but figure out what it's going to cost you for the job. And for heat applied film, this is how you figure out cost. So I take that design. I know I'm going to consume 4 yards of Premium Plus to create that design. 4 yards times $6.20 per yard. So you need to figure out your average cost per yard that you pay for whatever brand of heat applied film you use. And that's going to give you your total cost in materials to create that job. We've spoken about this a long time ago before, but make sure this cost per yard that you're estimating here incorporates freight, and that is a landed cost per yard. So if I have $24.80 in material, I'm just estimating a $2.50 shirt, I believe. Yeah, $2.50 shirt. So I'm going to say $30 in the garments, which is going to remain a standard because it's going to be a basic. It's going to be the same T-shirt regardless of what I place them with as far as the graphic. And I'm estimating $10.50 in labor. So I'm paying my production employee $10.50 an hour. It's going to take them about an hour to create 12 shirts or 5 minutes a shirt. That's about right for a basic heat-applied film. So total cost is going to be $65.30. If I divide that by the 12 up here, that's going to give me $5.44 per piece. Selling price. So I look at the cost, and we could have a whole webinar on what to sell stuff for, but I look at a cost of $5.44. I look at a group of 12 pieces, and I think I can sell these all day at $15 per piece. You may sell them at 12. You may sell them at 20. It's all gonna be relative to your area, and it's all gonna work the same with this system I'm presenting to you for upselling. But the point is, you're gonna have your base price per piece. In this case, $15 per piece. So I'm gonna sell the whole job for $180. So on that job for this customer, I'm gonna make $114.70 in profit. Once again, you got to include things like overhead percentage, things like that, but this is just a constant and an example to draw out for you without getting into mind-boggling details. So let's say we make $114.70. So if you have a pen, go ahead and jot that number down somewhere. I'm jotting it down right now, and let's know that that's how much we're going to make in profit on that 12-piece order. Let me go to the next slide here. Now let's look at the same job with upgrading the print. All right, once again, 10 by 14, 12 shirts, 4 yards. I have the price in here for the fashion film electric material, which was the blue metallic-y print that we saw. So 4 yards times $9.31 per yard. I have $37.24 in the material, same cost per garment. That material is, once you have experience and the knowledge of the material, you'll know how much labor to estimate. It's going to take me about the same amount of time as the Premium Plus to weed and apply. So total cost is $77.74 or $6.48 a piece. Here's the number I want you to focus on. For this strategy, I've chosen to put a 25% markup on the design. This is where you start to make the extra profit. So remember, the Premium Plus cost me like $6.30 per yard. This costs like $3 more per yard. When you break it down per piece, it's not that much more expensive to produce a garment. If I put a markup on the selling price of 25%, then I'm selling the total job now for $225. So before it was $180, remember, for the 12 shirts, I'm going to say, okay, Group X, if you want to upgrade to this print, it's going to add 25% more per shirt, and the total order is going to be only $45 more for the team, which really isn't that bad. It's like $2.50 more per person for their shirt. So $18.75 per piece. That was some fuzzy math. It's actually $3.75 additional per shirt, but $18.75 per piece. Now I'm going to make $147 in profit. So that, if you remember, we had $114 profit on the last order, on the last example. I'm going to make $32 more just on these 12 shirts by upselling them into an upgraded print. In order to do this, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough to do this by just talking about it. You really need to have a plan, and you need to have a visual created in order to make this work. You know, you probably have about $10 in that visual that we created, and it's going to reap a lot of rewards. Now let's look at how this factors into an ultimate upgrade. So I'll let you look down through the numbers, but the glitter flake material that's accounted for here is $11.40 per yard, so I have more cost in material. I did add more cost in labor because anybody that has worked with glitter flake, you know it's more time consuming. to work with than a basic material, so I added another half hour in labor to my rate there to create the same 12 shirts. So it's going to cost me $91.35. I'm going to put a 50% markup on the ultimate pricing. You can determine these markups for yourself, but just run through some scenarios. I like the 50% number because I think to get a high-density glitter or really glow-in-the-dark or an elevated print on the shirt, I don't think $22.50 per piece is out of the ballpark. Hopefully a lot of you agree with me. Somehow I closed my question box here. I have to try to get that back up. But I'm not sure if anybody's typing questions. Nicole, if you see questions that come up, you can interrupt me and ask me because I'm unable to get my question box back. But anyways, total profit of $178.65. So that's $63 to nearly $64 more profit than the original basic order. Pretty significant. Pretty significant as far as how much more money you'll gain with this strategy. Nicole, any questions or comments? Okay, it's all quiet, so I guess not.
Not so far, no, Josh. I'm sorry, no questions.
Okay, that's all right. You're looking for the mute button to unmute, right? Okay. So that covers, so far we've talked about having a good knowledge of the material choices and really having a understanding of what products you're going to put on your shelf in stock so you can execute this strategy. We've talked about the looks and the basic tiered system, 1, 2, 3. Now we need to talk about how you're going to motivate your staff to do this. What type of goals are you going to set? How are you going to measure this program to know whether it's successful? How are you going to incent your staff? So I'm not sure. Everybody probably has a different incentive plan now. If you're the only person at your company, your incentive is just to sell the jobs and make more profit because you take it home at the end of the day. So the basic shirt obviously receives the same basic commission that you give today. What I would recommend doing is tracking. When somebody places somebody into an upgraded upsell, give them some spiff or give them points or tickets or something towards rewards. If they sell the ultimate, maybe you give them a little more as far as a commission, or you give them more points towards rewards. Something I like to use a lot is a reward system, and I kind of call it the arcade effect. I don't know, my wife probably thinks I'm crazy, but on vacation I get in the arcade and I just can't control myself. I'm playing more games than my 2-year-old daughter. But you just want to win those tickets. You want to pick out the prize. So have some different things set up for your staff, and it can be pretty inexpensive stuff. So basically, if they make an upgrade sale, maybe give them 1 ticket. If they make an ultimate upgrade sale, give them 2 tickets for every one they make. And then have some desired items like iPods, iPads, different electronics or things, and obviously figure out what it costs you and how much more additional profit you make for the upgrade, but then award them tickets to where they can redeem them. And actually for this one, the best way to measure it is if you look at one of those, if you look at the basic shirt, and if you look at the ultimate upgrade shirt, I do want to step back to figure out how much profit we made more. So let's see. I'm going to write down $63.95 additional profit that we wouldn't have had before. If I take that, operating on the fly here, if I take that $63.95 and divide it by 12 pieces, I've made an additional $5.33 per piece. So if I reward a ticket per piece, for instance, so 12 pieces, so for this ultimate upgrade sale, that sales rep would have redeemed 12 tickets. So they'd be on their way. You can see these can add up. If they sell a 100 shirt order or 50 shirt order, they can really start to get a lot of tickets. But the point is, if an iPad costs you, let's say $700, in order for them to get 700 tickets, they're going to basically bring you somewhere around $3,500 in additional profit. So it's all relative. As long as you put your values right on your rewards program as far as how many tickets an item costs versus what they'll have to sell or upgrade to bring in that profit, it'll all work.
Josh, we do have a comment.
So here's the, go ahead.
We do have a comment.
Sure.
We have a person saying they did a tablecloth with glitter flake and charged $175, and they thought that was cheap, but the tablecloth only cost $20.
Yeah, the table covers, if you do any market research, they're extremely expensive to buy for like trade show displays. I think average table cover, for a single piece order is usually sold somewhere around $200 to $225 for a logo. So there is a phenomenal amount of profit margin available there, especially with a material like glitter flake where you could probably get even more since it's a specialty item. But yeah, appreciate that comment. So, it does, and that's another point. It works across more canvases than just the T-shirt. This concept can work on bags. It can work in other parts of your business, like in sign media. It can work for embroidery with thread types. So take this concept and basically map it out for whatever decorating discipline, whatever item that's kind of your core competency. But the bottom line is, if we're dealing with T-shirts and I upgrade 1,000 shirts, and you'll have to put into perspective how many thousands of shirts you sell a year, but I'm basically going to put $2,500 more to my bottom line for every 1,000 shirts that I upgrade. Now, that's not counting any sort of rewards I would pay out on that in the form of the arcade effect that we spoke about or anything, an extra commission. Likewise, if you upgrade 1,000 shirts to the ultimate style of print, if you do a 50% markup, I'm going to make $5,000 for every 1,000 shirts. That's under the scenario of the design size that I use, and it's also under the scenario of the markups I used of 25 and 50% and the base price that I established for my item. The point is, you'll make more money if you're marking these items up and you have a simple strategy. So this is one sales strategy, art of the upsell. I'm going to stay on to handle questions. This is like record time for me. As far as going through stuff, I'm going to spend a couple minutes here showing you how to navigate our website and get some of these special effects on order so you can look at the pricing and figure out how you can order 1-yard increments in these products to make your sample shirts. But I'll stay on for questions, and for those of you interested in the next webinar, it's going to be on October 11th. This isn't my webinar in this series, but this is the next Great Garment Graphics webinar. It's going to be on VersaWorks, which is a RIP program for printing to the VersaCam print device. And it's going to be a workflow how-to, so I'm sure that one will be really good. It's being presented by Stephen Jackson of Imprintables Warehouse. So for those of you that are done, you can check out now, stay on and answer questions, and let me show you quickly how to navigate to the different materials on the website. So if you go to cagscutdirect.com, let's say I wanted to glitter flake as an example, get in some of this to make my sample shirts. I can simply go to the material, and we sell everything once it populates here. We sell everything in 1-yard cuts. So you could get a 5-yard roll if you want to put it on a shelf, or you could just simply populate 1-yard cuts of whatever colors you want. To start making your samples for your salespeople, and you can also request swatch booklets by calling in to 1-800-4STALLS. Those are free for the different products. That's basically how to do it. I do have my question box back, so let me open that up and see what's sitting here waiting for me. Okay. How long of a shelf life do the CAD products have, and how do you know what types of materials you can layer with CAD Cut? That's a good question. Most of the products have at least a few years of shelf life when stored in the proper conditions, so not in high humidity or not extremely hot or extremely cold, so basically a room temperature condition. So I wouldn't worry too much about the shelf life on the products unless you think you're going to have them for over 2 or 3 years. what type of materials can you layer. We have some recommendations on our website. It's a product combination chart. Let me see if I can find it here real quick to show you. Yeah, so the CAD cut heat transfer material combination chart, if I just search on product combination, and you can see recommendations here as well as settings for each combo. You know, you just hit this drop down and click on whatever foreground you want, and it'll tell you what it'll go on in the settings. All right. Let's see if there's anything else happening here. Okay, here's one more. What is the best method for keeping the rolls from unrolling? I'm not really sure what that means. Like on the cutter, if you can clarify that. He may be trying to type in here. Oh, in storage. If it's a CAD cut material, I like to use a rubber band. We tape them when we send them out, but when I'm storing them here at my office, I use a rubber band. If it's a print cut material, you'll have to use like a masking tape to tape the edge, because the rubber band will affect the print surface when it's sitting there. Okay, so no other questions. Keep it short and sweet today. I won't make you hold on any longer. This recording will be available on greatgarmentgraphics.com, and we hope to see you at the next Dynamite Sales Strategies presentation. Thanks so much.